Good morning. Today we are going to learn about the industrial relations and our plan. So, what is industrial relations? Okay, the term industrial relations comprises of two terms. One is industry, another one is relations. So, let us talk about what is industry. Industry means any productive activity in which an individual is engaged. So, what do you mean by this productive activity? So, the productive activity means where the production takes place. So, what is this productive activity of production? The man's economic activity is nothing but it is a man's economic activity is primarily around this production. To earn some living, he'll be doing some productivity or productive activity. That is called as production. So, the productive activity is nothing but man's economic activity. And who will be doing this? The what is the primary factor of this production? The primary factor of this production is the individual, or this individual is also called as the labor. So labor is said to be the primary factor of production. Labor is said to be the primary factor of production. So let us now we are clear what is industry, what is production, and now what are the activities comes under this productive activities. Primary activities like agriculture, fisheries, plantation, forestry, horticulture, mining, etc. And the secondary activities like manufacturing, construction, trade, transport, commerce, banking, communication, etc. How I have divided this into primary activities and secondary activities? The answer for this question is how I have divided this. Because if you go for man's economic history, there you will get to know that how this industry has been started, how the production of the man has been started at the starting when the primitive man, how the primitive man has made his living. So at the basic level, to meet his basic needs, he started hunting and fishing. It is the first stage of production or productive activity, I can say that. The basic needs of man were met by the nature through the economic activities called as hunting and fishing. And this is the first stage, I can say. And in the second stage, which is called as pastoral stage, they started moving from one place to another place with this animals like goats and cattle. This is the second stage. And in the third stage, this is very crucial stage where there is lot of change has been taken place. In the third stage, that small artisans and landed proprietors, owners started. The class system began to develop. So in this third stage, people have started getting civilized. The class system started. Proprietors, owners, and laborers started. The artisans, the workers. Okay, so this is the agriculture stage. There, where the small artisans and land proprietors are started. In this stage, the class system began to develop. And in the fourth stage, handicrafts stage. This is a stage where artisans begin to depend on traders or merchants who found a market for the products of artisans and gave loans whatever whenever it is necessary. This exchange of commodities started from this stage, artisan or handicraft stage. What happened? Exchange of commodities has been started, and they started developing commercial centers. Okay, so this is how there is a barter system has been developed. They used to exchange the goods between them. And the next stage is workshop stage. This is where in this stage standardized they started using the standardized tools, and they started employing the labor. This gave rise to elementary problems of labor. The labor, they started relations between the employer and employee existed. In the fifth stage, they started a employer and employee relationship gave rise, and along with that, they started elementary problems of labor. Okay, so uh, so that is how the elementary problems of labor have been started. So now will be now everybody is clear. That is how we have divided into primary activities of production and the secondary activities of production. And economically speaking, industry means the secondary sector with factors of production. We know what are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and production. In another way, these are also understood as material, money, machinery. And these factors of production are used for the purpose of production. So we are saying that it's the factors of production, definitely they're employed or they are constituted for the purpose of production, where a business organization exists. That is called as industry. Now we are clear about industry. Now coming to the relation. Coming to the relation. Relations means that in an industry, the relations exist between two people. One is two actors, I can say, employer, and the one is employees or the labor or the workforce. So we are clear about the relations. Now, different authors have defined the term industrial relations in different ways. Let us talk about industrial relations in a broader perspective. The concept of industrial relations has a wider meaning. How? Why I am saying it has a wider meaning? Because it emerges out of the industrial relations has been emerged out of employment. It is a relationship that emerged out of day-to-day working and association of labor and the management. Labor, employee and the employer. So when we are talking this in a wider sense, it also includes and or which transgresses to the areas of quality control, marketing, price fixation, and disposition of profits among others. Because why we are producing for increasing the wealth of the shareholders, for increasing the wealth of the shareholders. Okay. To increase the wealth of the shareholders, what are the things that are important? Quality control, marketing, price fixation, disposition of profits, everything is included. So this industrial relations is transferred to the areas of quality control, marketing, price fixation, disposition, and distribution of profits. Now, we'll talk about some of the coded definitions, which is given by now. The first definition, which is given by Labo Dictionary, it defines industrial relations as relation between these two characters. One is employer and the employee in the industry. Now, we'll go for the next definition, which is given by Dale Yardlaw. Yardlaw, he is given industrial relations as a relationship between management and employees, or among employees and their organization, which is characterized or growth out of employment, which arose out of employment. And in a simple way, International Institute of Labor studies has defined this industrial relations in a simple way as it defined IR as very simple social relations in production. So while we are talking about the social relation, how the social relations, because from the starting onwards talking as social relations, talking as people, individual has to be engaged. When the people are engaged, then social relations definitely exist. For example, I can say that when any organized work, please make a note of everything. Okay? When any organized work conducted for the purpose of production, conducted for the purpose of production, bringing people together, the matter of the relationship comes as most prominent feature of work setting. So that is what social relations in production. Because these all the people coming together towards to fulfill a common goal called as production. Called as production. That is that is what it is defined as social relations in production. Okay. And we'll be going for the next definition, which is given by BBC. He has given industrial relations as a set of functional interdependence, which is involving historical. So based upon the previous situations or events, relations between the people will be changing. Economic scenarios will be changing. Social, psychological, demographic. Demographic means age, qualifications, income levels. Okay, all this thing. Okay, and technological, occupational, political, and legal variables. And in a book called The Transformation of American Industrial Relations, which is uh, which is given by Harris Ricards, pointed out in his book. He pointed out IR as three stages: top tier, middle tier, bottom tier. In the top tier, where strategic decision making will be taking place by the top management. In the middle tier, collective bargaining takes place. And in the bottom tier, it talks about the work situations and organization settings, relation between the employers and employer, relation between employees and the organization, all this. And it says that industrial relation activities among three main social partners take place. The IR activities will be taking place in these three partners, social partners. That is all about it was defined in the. So next, a definition which is given by Industrial Labour or International Labour Organization, is ILO. It is given that industrial relations comprise of relationships between the state on one hand and the employer and employees of the organization on other, and the relation among the occupational organizations themselves, organization settings, I can say that. Now, and another most important definition is given by Dunlop. Why Dunlop is so famous? Because Dunlop is one of the most famous practitioners who has given system theory of industrial relations, systems model. He is the person who has given systems model, which is very famous of industrial relations. It is environmental theory, I can say, of IR or external theories of IR. It comes under it, which is very popular. I'll talk about that also. What is the definition of it? Industrial relations are complex interrelations among the three actors: managers, workers, and the agencies of the government. And the agencies of the government. These are the three people that are involved. And these complex relations between these people. Now, according to, and the same Professor Dunlop has added a new dimension to the concept of IR by saying, beautifully said, an art of industrial relation as art of living together for the purpose of production. What he said? Industrial relation is an art of living together for the purpose of production. Why he has given such definition? In the previous definition, he said that what he said in the previous definition, he said that the three actors. It is the complex interrelations between managers, workers, and agents. That's what the art of living together for the purpose of production. He has simplified the definition into living together for the purpose of production. Okay. And now, Alan Flanders has pointed out the industrial relations deals with certain regulators and institutionalized relationships in the industry. Now we'll be dealing with, now everybody is clear with the definitions which is given. Now we'll be, by summing up all these definitions, we'll be talk about all these criteria, some of the important elements of IR, important elements of industrial relations. The industrial relations, the term originally stands for employer and employee, the relation between employer and employee. And the second one is later on when the workers are organized themselves into trade unions. They started going for collective bargaining. Okay, the purpose of this collective trade union is okay to deal with the grievances at the workplace, and it includes, and also they will be dealing with the to protecting the interest of the employees, to protect the interest of the workers. So I have written the original term in the for employer and employee relations in the industry and trade union activities, and the third one is relation between employer and the employees came to be vested with the public importance. Okay, And therefore, activities of state designed to modify, regulate, and control relations between these two parties, employer and employee. The term industry is not confined to small segment of economic activity, but it has a gainful it includes all the gainful employments, including service under the state. And therefore, the employer and employee relations under public sectors has also come to be covered by this term. So, considering all these elements mentioned above, the term industrial relations can be taken to stand for employees, unions, employers, and the fourth one is the government relationship in the employment. Now, so before going into this evaluation of industrial relations, how this relations has been evaluated. Okay, so before going to that, I'll we'll talk about the uh, uh, what are the different theories of industrial relations in short, in a very short form, because we have already discussed about the definition of given by John Danda. These industrial relations is a multidisciplinary base, which is having a multidisciplinary base. Why I'm saying that it has multidisciplinary base because it brought upon the concepts from the established disciplines like social sciences. Social sciences means from the economics, sociality, psychology. These three disciplines have developed a series of industrial relations, and they have categorized. We can categorize these industrial relation theories into two types. One is the external theories, and these external theories are also called as environmental theories. And the second one is in-plant theories or internal theories. So, external theories I have already told you. The prominent contribution among external theories was systems approach developed by John T. Dunlop. And in his book called Industrial Relations System, he has mentioned the views of industrial relation as a system, as a subsystem of society. What he has given? Industrial Relations System, it is a book in which he has written industrial relations system as a subsystem of society. Industrial relation system as a subsystem of society. So what his model talks about? We'll just make an outline of his model. In his model, he has given four elements of industrial relation system. That is, one is actor. First core element is actors. Second core element is context. And third core element is ideologies. And fourth core element is rules. And first core element was who are the actors? The actors are the three people: employers, employees, and the government agents, who are concerned with the workplace and the work community, that are concerned with the workplace and the work community. Next, context. The context means it is context means the environment in which these actors will be working. They'll be working together for the production, for the purpose of production. These contexts consist of technology constraints, market constraints, power relations. So it is a context in which it is context of the situations in which workplace settings. It can be the workplace settings, technological advancements, or technological constraints, market constraints, power relations. All these are in the prevailing conditions in which these actors will be working. So that is the context. And the next is ideologies. Ideologies, we all know that ideologies are nothing but set of ideas and beliefs commonly held by the actors and help to bind or integrated the system together as an entity. Whatever the ideas are the beliefs that make these people together, bind together as a system. Okay, so that those are all called as ideology. And the fourth most important element is rules. A body of rules framed to govern these actors at the workplace. What are the rules? The rules are nothing but the body of rules or regulations framed to govern these actors at the workplace. These rules can be different from different systems depending upon the Industrial sectors, there can be example agreements, orders, okay, regulations, awards, practices and customs, etc. These may change according to the political party or legal setting. Okay, this is all about Dunlop's system approach or system model, okay, which is not mentioned here. And coming to the evaluation of industrial relations, now the origin of industrial relations lies in the employer and employee relations. It is already said that the origin of industrial relations lie in the employer and employee relations. The moment when the workers are getting divorced from the worksheet of industries, so materials and means of production, they become wage earners dependent for their livelihood upon the wages alone. So this it is a setting when this happens in the when this happens. Okay? Because before pre-industrial, in the pre-industrial society, I can say that in the pre-industrial society, productive work was mostly organized on small and even household scale. So production takes place on small or even household scale. In such conditions, workmen frequently weren't the simple instruments of production they needed for work. Hence, they neither worked on their own or hired the services of others with whom they are comfortable, direct, and personal and informal relations, which they have direct, informal, and personal relationship. So there is no way for the conflict because they'll be hiding the people, or they'll be doing their own work, or they'll be hiding the people who with whom they are comfortable and with whom they are having a direct and personal relations and informal relations. And with the advent of this modern industrialization, the work organizations have gone through a basic change in terms of scale of production, and people have started to um, employ thousands of people with they have to work with big machines, and industrial work therefore has become quite complex and distinctly different from the work in a earlier times than that of the earlier times. So now with this revolutionary or with this change, what happened? The people who own the instruments and materials of production become the employers or the owners, and they own the product, and the total the the workers are just become wage earners, and they will be depending for their livelihood upon the wages alone. So in the beginning of the modern industrial society, the economic system was not like that because it consists of small competitive businesses and industrial establishments where small number of people are employed, and they will be employing the people with whom they will be having personal relations and informal communication, so they can talk to them for any grievances or for anything. There is no way of getting any grievance. And the relations between an employer nowadays, after in advent of this technological or industrialization, the relation between an employer and his employees are informal, or they became formal. Previously, they used to be informal, personal, intimate, but with this growth of stock, joint stock companies like MNCs, business corporations, each employee, uh, I told you right, thousands of employees are getting hired, and relations between the employer and becoming no longer intimate and informal. Because of that, there is a lot of gaps coming between the employer and employees. That is one of the causes of industrial relations. And because of that, the other significant factor I can say that because of it, gaps and misunderstandings and differences in opinion, the scope for develop formation of employer association have been formed. On one hand, employer association for what? To safeguard and promote the interest of the employers, and in the same way, on the other hand, these employees started forming the trade unions. Because in days when the doctrine of laissez-faire prevailed, in the days when the doctrine of laissez-faire prevailed, in the sphere of economic relations between persons, the workers suffered a lot of disadvantage. In the production setting, the relation between them and their employees was a very relation is very unequal, which inevitably resulted in the exploitation of weak by the strong. Because laissez-faire, laissez-faire means there is no interference of government in the trade or business, economic activities. Because of it, the workers are treated as slaves. They used to work for longer hours. This exploitation, like the paying low wages, making the people to work for longer hours, and under miserable physical conditions of work. This exploitation caused the heat of dissatisfaction among workers and bred protest and started protesting. Workers therefore got together and formed a trade union to mobilize their own power. A worker who could not individually take up his, because the workers individually cannot take up his own cause effectually before the employer. This can be done by the trade union. Therefore, the workers came together, started forming a trade union, emerged in the area of collective relationship as organized bodies for the protection and furtherance of workers' interests. That is to protect the interest of the workers. So that is how the trade unions has been evaluated and employers association has been formed. These are the two sides contradictory parties have been started. That is what we are talking about in the scope. I have given a pictorial representation. Employees, trade union, employers, employer associations, and third one is government. The government, what is the role of government? They'll be protecting both the employers as well as both the employees. They'll be protecting both the employers as well as employees. Because IR has a moral dimension. Now, we'll talk about these three aspects also, just now what we have discussed. First one, employers and trade unions. What is this? Why is the trade union came? What is the role of this trade union? It is very crucial role. In 2003, Adward has given the what is the crucial role of trade union as. The trade union helps in organizing the employees and mobilizing them through a set of demands and also engaging with the employers through collective bargaining. Collective bargaining, mobilizing and engaging the employees in the work through collective bargaining, and employees are represented by trade unions. Why the people are joining into trade unions? Employees are joining into trade unions because to improve the working conditions, working environment, and as well as for the better terms and conditions in employment. That is the cause. And and also the trade union has given a scope to express their grievances in respect of working and employment conditions through unions. That is why the Trade Unions Act came into force in 1926, where it has mentioned that we can start a trade union can be registered with any seven or more employees will be permitted to form a trade union in India as per the Trade Unions Act of 1926, and after the amendment with the cause of limiting the number of trade unions, the government amended this the act in 2001. Accordingly, the trade unions are registered only if 10% or 100 workers, whichever is less, members of a trade union, subjected to a minimum of 7 workmen in any industrial establishment. So, next is employer association. We have already gone through this employer association. Why do they form the employers association? The employees will be having the desire to harmonize industrial relations. Why? Harmonious relationship to promote productivity and profit of the organization should not be affected. So they form the employer association making decisions. And they should have they decide the right to hire and fire the employees. relocate the factory in case of problem. And modern technology has to be adopted more to reduce their dependence on the employees. Employer prefer unions so that these employees at the time of yes, they used to prefer these unions when at the time of industrialization, start of the industrialization, they used to prefer unions because they can hear one voice rather than listening to multiple voices. Now, after the advent of the technology, what happened? With the advent of the technology, there is a lot of changes has been taking place. The another specialization came that is human resources manager who will be directly dealing with the employees. They directly deal with the employees, they will be taking out with the employee grievances, and the role of unions has been reduced. The employers are concerned more about attracting and retaining the talent in the organization and to improve the productivity and profit of the organization. This can be done by the HR manager. So people, there is no need of employees going to the union because they can go to the HR manager for any grievances because they will be taking care of the employees. So they can retain the talent, they can train the people in a proper way, and all these responsibilities are taken up by the human resources management because of the unions has been reduced. And after that, employers started using the temporary workers, contract workers, and outsourcing workers to improve the productivity as well as to operate unionless environment. And what is the role of government in this? Okay, it acts as a mediating group between the employer and the employer and the employee. So, and they will, when they are not able, when there is an issue between the employer and employee, and they are not in a position to get to a conclusion or consensus regarding any employment related issues, then the role of government comes. Adjudication, conciliation, works complete. Okay, this is how the government will be playing a role. Okay, the role of government also changes based upon the policies of the political party. The government also plays a direct role in the industrial relations through legislation, rules, agreements. And as the labor is in the concurrent list of the constitution, hence central as well as state government can enact legislation, and the industry has to obey sometimes according to the rules of the state and as well as the central. Okay. Now we'll go to the scope. Because to make a clear understanding, I have given all these things about the scope. Now we are just making a summary of the scope. The scope of industrial relations is between to maintain the relation between employer, employees, and the supervisors and managers. And two, collective relations between unions and management. It is called as union management relations. And relation between trade unions, employer, associations, and government. All the three parties. In a wider perspective, and all these points whichever we have learned now till now will be in the scope of the now we have summarized the scope. It includes the establishment and maintenance of good personal relations first. Good scope is maintain good personal relations in the industry, ensuring manpower development, ensuring establishing or ensuring closer contact between persons connected with the industry. It can be managers and employers, employers and the unions, and the people who are associated with the organization. And the next is creating a sense of belongingness in the minds of management, creating mutual affection, responsibility, and regard for each other, motivation, and thereby stimulating production as well as industrial and economic development. Establishing good industrial climate, peace, and ultimately maximize social welfare. Now this from after this we have done with the scope. Now we'll be going for objectives of IR to preserve the industrial peace and to secure industrial cooperation. The first is what is the purpose of the IR is to preserve industrial peace and to secure industrial cooperation. The first one. If there is no cooperation, what is happening? I'll give a small. I can say that a small example. If the cooperation is not there, what is happening? So Maruti has witnessed. Maruti, the company Maruti has witnessed because of lack of coordination between the employers and employees. Strikes in 1986, 1988, 1996, 2011, and 2012, ranging from 1 to 85 days. 1 day to 85 days. They used to make a strike. Strikes. Who will be doing the strike? Them employees will be doing the strike because of mismatch of opinions, lack of cooperation between the employer and employee. So because of this is the if people are striking, the production will be going down. If the production will be going down, economic status of the organization will be, industry will be down. That is all about. So IR will be helping to establish industrial peace without strike, without lockdown, without attrition, and retaining the talent. So to establish the industrial peace, what are the things that has to be followed? The workers must be assured of fair wages, good conditions of work, reasonable working conditions, holidays, minimum amenities of life. And to next, this IR also helps to secure effective coordination of man, material, machinery, and money. The four M's, four factors of production. And it also helps in the progress of industry through democratic methods. What are those democratic methods? Like total well-being, happiness, prosperity, stability, and by promoting industrial peace. It also helps in state. IR helps to safeguard the interest of labor and the management by securing high level of mutual understanding, goodwill between all the sections of the people who are working in the industry and are associated with the process of production. Next, it helps in, and the objective is to raise productivity to the higher level by arresting the tendency of higher labor turnover and frequent accidents. For this, I'll give another example. See, when how can we raise the productivity? The best example for this is, for example, I can give the example of this. A peaceful IR helps. How can a peaceful IR or is a good industrial relations helps in increasing the productivity of the industry? Please make a note of this case study, and after this class, please look after this. Alval plant. Alvar plant. Its tractors productivity went up. Productivity of this company, I'll repeat the name of this, Alwar, ALWAR, plant of Itcher tractors. The productivity of this company has went up from 32% between 1994 and 1996 to 38%, 32% to 38% in 1997. So, how they have done? Through peaceful industrial relations. Through peaceful industrial relations, they have raised the productivity from 32% in 94 to 96 to 38% in 1997. This increase in productivity is only possible because of good industrial relations. This is only possible because of good industrial relations. And this is example. This is a case study. Please go through this case study. And they have how they have reduced the employee turnover, industry. How have they have reduced the industrial unrest? How and which led to the increase in the productivity of the organization. Okay. The case is Alwal plant of Icho tractors. To avoid industrial conflicts and develop harmonious relationships between the labor and management for the industrial progress in the country. This is one of the objective of the industrial relations. And another is, which is very important, is establish and maintain industrial democracy. Industrial democracy is not based on a labor partnership. Partnership is not just by sharing the gains of the organization, but it's more than that. It is like by associating the labor in the decision making, like participative management, making the employees also to participate in the decision making. That makes them to feel like owned. We are working that organization. If they can feel that organization is giving value to the employees. Ultimately, this feeling helps the employee to increase their morale. If the morale has been increases, definitely they'll be working with high satisfaction levels, definitely with high productivity and high efficiency. So to bridge about the government control over such units, sick units or the industries which are, it is industrial relations also helps to bridge the government control over the units which are sick or running out of losses and has to be regulated in the public interest. And this IR objective is to bring down the strikes. Okay, I have already given the strike list of Maruti, the witness of strikes in 1986, 1988, 1996, again in 99, again in 2011 and 2012, ranging from 1 day to 85 days. They used to do the strike. Because of that, definitely they have lost the productivity of the organization at times. So, so the main purpose of this industrial relations is to avoid strike, lockouts, gyros, and other pressure tactics by providing better wages, improved working conditions. Why do people do this? These strikes or all these things. Okay, because strike is a weapon in the hands of employees, whereas lockout is a weapon in the hand of employer. If employees are doing strikes to get their demands, employer what they'll be doing, they'll be lock out the company. So strike is nothing but cessation of work. Lockout is nothing but temporary closure of the industry. Okay, that is the difference between strike and lockout. Strike will be done by the employees, whereas lockout will be done by the employers. Okay, so these can be avoided if you can, if we can avoid the strikes. How we can avoid the strike? By providing better wages, improved working conditions, and also fringe benefits to the workers. Okay, if the workers are working well, definitely there is no place for industrial unrest. And coming to this industrial relations helps in bringing the gap by the state between the imbalances and disorders and maladjustments and social order between the and helps in reshaping the complex social relationships, and also makes the people to be adaptable to the technological advancements by controlling and disciplining its members and adjusting their conflict interests. Okay. Now we'll go through a glance of significance of industrial relations, because up to this point, you people are clear about how important the industrial relations to the country. So the significance of IR is first is increase the productivity. It helps in increasing the productivity, because a healthy and cordial relation between the workforce and the employer and management definitely improves the worker's productivity and efficiency, because a motivated worker contributes his best and attains to attainment and try to attain the organizational objectives. This leads to the increased productivity. And the second significance is reduction in industrial dispute. Good industrial disputes help in good industrial relations helps in reducing industrial disputes. Good industrial relationships removes dissatisfactions or discontentments among the workers. Adequate finance and non-financial benefits, provision of employee participation in sharing of profits, in decision making, collective bargaining, giving the capacity through mutual negotiation, consultation. These are all the methods through which you can reduce the industrial disputes and improve the morale and satisfaction of the workers, because satisfied workers are always less inclined towards entering into the conflict with the management. Like definitely in industries, the most common issues are low wages, long working hours, unhealthy working environment or working conditions. So if you can avoid this, if you can remove this type of this this kind of things from your industry, low wages, you can give fair wages to the people, and working hours has to be maintained and healthy. If you can provide a healthy and good working conditions, physical working conditions to your people, definitely they can work with satisfaction, and this increases the productivity of the organization. Uninterrupted production. The most important benefit of industrial relations is that ensures uninterrupted production. So, uninterrupted production, I already told you, interruptions because of Maruti strike. In the Maruti company, there is a lot of interruption in many years there because which interest in witnesses the strikes in 86, 88, too many days from 1 to 85 days. Definitely, it interrupted the production of the Maruti company. See, reduce industrial dispute, industrial unrest, strike, law courts can be avoided through good industrial relations. This ensures smooth running of organization and continuous production. Next, I already told that this good industrial relations boosts the morale of the employees. Employees feel that they are a part of the organization. When we feel that the company is valuing me, their contribution improves. Good industrial relations brings about realization among the employees that gain to organization will not only benefit the employer but also benefit the employees as well. This makes them to work with zeal, with efficiency, with efficacy, and with satisfaction. Effective utilization of industrial resources. Good industrialization helps in effective utilization of the factors of production, man, material, okay, man, money, material, and machines. Improved morale, industrial peace, recognition of employees' interests, and reconciliation of employers and employees' objectives. And this helps in minimum wastage of resources. Thank you. Please refer to the cases which I have mentioned. And before going as a outlook, I'll give the nature of as a summary. I'll give the nature of IR. What are the areas that are covered by the IR? Is specifically IR covers the areas of one is collective bargaining, one is collective bargaining, and the second one is role of management, unions, and government, and the third one is machinery for resolution of industrial disputes, and the fourth one is industrial grievances, disciplinary policies and practices, labor legislations, and industrial training. These are all the areas which will be covered in the industrial relations, because more specifically, as a last word, more specifically, this IR is concerned with the one is system, rules, and procedures used by unions, employers to determine the reward for effort and other conditions of employment. For what? To protect the interest of the employed and their employer, and to regulate the ways in which employers treat their employees. This is the main aim of industrial relations. Okay, thank you very much. I have mentioned the references also. These are all the textbooks which you can see and go through, and whatever the matter which I have given, this is from these textbooks only. Okay, thank you. We have given more than 7 references also. The next class will be covering other topics like causes and consequences of IR and recent trends in IR, and also, if possible, we'll go through the trade unionism in India, which is very interesting topic. Thank you very much.